One of the most divisive topics in Brawl Stars today is about the Sushi event. Some people love it and others despise it, saying that it's not free-to-play friendly at all. So which is right? Or are both somewhat correct? In this video, I'm going to go over the Sushi event itself, then talk about my thoughts on whether it really is a good event for progression or even just in general. I'm getting close to 15,000 subscribers, so I'd appreciate if you guys subscribe to help me closer to that milestone. Second, join our Discord server. We have some fun stuff to do there, like our very own 1v1 ranked called Gauntlet, where you can win Monstro Miko, and more Brawl Talk skins in the future, or simply just have fun. Finally, consider becoming a channel member if you're interested in supporting out the channel and have ample disposable income for some cool perks, like watching videos early or getting to decide on future video ideas. Now, onto the video. This current event is called the Battle for Katana Kingdom, and is mostly based around Kenji, Japanese themes, and most importantly, the collection of our monthly reskin star drops, otherwise known as Sushi. With the description out of the way, let's start talking about some of the features of the event. With the event, there was a chapter system, with 4 chapters, each being active for a single week. The first week was named the Way of the Wasabi, with the featured event being Samurai Smash. Samurai Smash consists of 2 teams trying to be the first one to 60 points, with each point corresponding to a golden doll. Golden dolls can be dropped by killing the bots or any of your enemies. Depending on the bot, they would give different amounts, but each enemy killed would give 3 dolls. There was also a quest for 10 wins in this game mode, which would give a singular sushi for completing it. Finally, wasabis, which I'll touch on more later, are permanently enabled in this mode. The second week was the rise of the Fudomaki 5, with the featured game mode being Mega Buffet. Throughout the week, your entire club would get 4 tickets per day, which you could use in the special Mega Buffet mode, obviously with wasabis enabled. Winning games would allow the club to fill up the meter to get a singular sushi roll. It starts out at 10 and then increases in increments of 2 wins every time your club completes it, until 22 wins, where it then goes straight to 30 wins. The third week was a taste of vengeance, where the featured game mode was Oni Hunt. This is basically a more difficult version of the old boss fight, as this time you're facing off against a gigantic Oni Kenji. He has 5 different modes: normal mode, angry mode, furious mode, enraged mode, and god mode. He also has 5 different levels that are progressively more and more difficult: normal, hard, expert, master, and then insane to insane 16. There are also rewards along with this, with beating the normal level giving 20 coins, the hard level for 30 coins, expert level for 50 coins, and the master and first insane level giving a single sushi roll each, with these rewards resetting every day. The fourth and final week was, and still is, the final cut. The featured event was the final battle. This is basically, you guessed it, another reskin, this time of the contest in the past few events we've had. However, this involves choosing a game mode each day, where you will have 4 tickets to get as many points as you can, where you will get sushis based on your finish. The rewards are 5 sushis for first, 4 for second, 3 for third, 2 for fourth, and 1 for fifth. With all that out of the way, let's talk about sushis. Sushis are obtained in several ways: the shop for gems, sometimes given out for free, and twice on the daily road. And of course, they are given out alongside each weekly event. Sushis have a chance of splitting up to 8 times, with a 58% chance of 1 split, a 37% chance of 2 splits, a 3% chance of 3 splits, and a 2% chance of 8 splits. This is what sushi rolls can include. Four and 8 rolls are also guaranteed to give out an event skin, and these are the event skins. One of the major things inside of sushis are wasabis, which is our next major reskin, this time of mutations. There are a total of 60 of them, with the least powerful wasabis being classified as hot, and then super hot, then extra hot, and then the most powerful and rare, Inferno. There are certain modes every day that have these wasabis enabled. Finally, the sushi meter. This tracks how many sushi rolls you've opened during the duration of the event. At 50 sushis open, you'll get 25 gems. At 100, you'll get the cursed Kenji skin. At 150, you'll get an epic brawler or 1000 credits. And at 200, you'll get the cursed Kenji hypercharge skin upgrade. Finally, Brawl Stars added a manga which they add a new chapter to each week of the event. And that's it. With all the stats and features of the event out of the way, let's start venting. Get it? I'm sorry, I'll leave. First of all, the weekly system. This is actually a pretty great idea. It keeps things fresh, as you're playing a different mode with a different theme every week, and limits a lot of the boring repetitiveness that has been an issue in past events. Furthermore, it keeps people wanting to continue to see what the next event is about, and therefore keeps player retention high. Now, for each event themselves. The Samurai Smash game mode as a whole started out pretty well, as many people didn't have wasabis back then, so the game mode was relatively balanced, and the mix of PvE and PvP aspects of the mode was done pretty well, and emphasized targeting both robots and other players. However, once people started to get wasabis, and good ones especially, things started to go down quickly. Wasabis like Amber's, Hank's, and Nita's started to make the game feel more and more balanced, but I'll talk more in depth about the wasabis in a little bit. Furthermore, there were game-breaking bugs too, like the Draco bug. If you used Draco's gadget every time you were hit, the game counted it as a death for you, and you could end up dropping obscene amounts of dolls for the enemy team to easily win. Finally, the sushi given out during the Samurai Smash week was quite minimal, and sushi overall was hard to come by during this week. Next is the Mega Buffet event. This is literally almost worse than Mega Pig. The first problem was obviously the wasabis being allowed in this mode, though that's mostly a personal bias of mine against them, caused by trauma from the mutations. But the way the event is structured is even worse. If we do the math, assuming a 30-person club, the club total will have 840 tickets across the week. Assuming every single person wins every single game, you would be able to get a maximum of 31 total sushis. You heard that right. The maximum you could get was 31 sushis in a completely unrealistic scenario. This was supposed to be one of the biggest ways to get sushi, yet the maximum you could end up with wasn't even a sixth of the total you needed to complete the sushi meter if you didn't get any extra splits. This is mostly because of the extremely unfriendly scaling of the Mega Buffet, which at the very end of it needed a whole 30 wins to get a singular sushi roll. This itself would cause a lot of people to stop playing the Mega Buffet, and alongside inactive people, or people who simply couldn't complete all of their tickets, most people were likely to finish much below a total of 31 sushis. I mean, overall, the Mega Buffet simply exacerbated the problems of the current Mega Pig, and the rewards given out from it did not justify the amount of effort that was needed. Next was the Oni Hunt event. Oni Hunt is extremely similar to the boss fight of days past, but I believe it's actually an improvement. It's a lot more difficult and engaging, and the harder modes actually feel like a challenge to consistently win against. Finally, there's also the God mode, which is basically an insta-lose, which I know is a bit controversial, but also raises the stakes, especially when you're close to the time when God mode activates. And of course, there are many strats in use of this mode, like 8-Bit, Jesse, Crow, and Spike, but this time it's used against the bot and not other people, so it feels a lot more fair, especially in the later and more difficult stages. However, my major issue with this event is not within the game mode itself, but the rewards. The rewards for winning are genuinely laughable. I know it's reset daily, but come on, is the best we can do is give 100 coins and 2 extra sushi rolls, which adds up to a mere 700 coins and 14 extra sushi rolls after a full week? This simply isn't enough, especially for free-to-play players aiming to complete the 200 sushis for the hypercharged skin. And finally, the final battle event. This is still ongoing as I'm writing the script, so I may miss a few things. But as far as I know currently, this seems to be a bit of a disappointment. Contests were an extremely good addition back in the days of the angels versus demons, as winning a contest would give an extravagant amount of star drops. Now, it's a little less extravagant, with 5 sushis being given for a victory. This would allow for a maximum of 35 total sushis, which, keep in mind, is only if you win every single day for a week, which is highly unlikely. This is still better than the last contest event we had in the pizza event, but keeping in mind all the other flaws with this sushi event, I think a lot of the expectations were put on the contest to be our savior with sushis, and unfortunately, it didn't deliver. To make matters even worse, and in the time I'm writing this, I don't even know if it's been fixed yet, but the leaderboards literally are not showing up. Glitches like these are unacceptable, yet so commonplace, and it really has me disappointed in Supercell, as bugs like these should not be in the final game. Now onto sushi themselves. These are a bit complicated. They have chances to give a lot of the stuff that regular star drops do, like coins, power points, skin, and cosmetics, even brawlers, gadgets, and hypercharges. However, the chances are quite bad. Let's take a simple 100 coins for example. Feel free to correct my math if I'm wrong. But with a 28% chance of getting a super rare star drop, and a 43% chance of getting 100 coins from it, you have a 12% chance from any one star drop to get 100 coins. Now let's compare this with a sushi roll. From a single sushi roll, you have a wonderful 1% chance to get 100 coins from it. That's nearly the same odds as you getting a gadget as getting a simple 100 coins from a rare sushi roll. But now, if we consider the odds of getting 100 coins from a single sushi roll in an 8 split, the odds slightly go up to a great 1.92% chance, without even taking into consideration the odds of getting the mythic roll in the first place. I mean, overall, I think we can all agree that a singular random sushi roll is worse than a star drop, but that's where the splitting comes in, right? Well, the odds for genuinely good splits are not very good. There's only a 3.33% chance of getting a 4 split, and only a 1.67% chance of getting an 8 split, which means if you have gotten 100 sushi rolls, you probably have gotten only around 3 4 splits and 2 8 splits, which is not good at all in my opinion. These are actually worse than the star drop chances for legendary and mythic, which are 2% and 5% respectively. Sure, overall you might get more sushi rolls than star drops, and therefore get a little bit more rewards, but the increase in the amount of rewards is not really as large as it probably should be. And it gets even worse when you compare them to the angel and demon star drops. Remember the 1% chance to get 100 coins from before? Angel and demon star drops had an over 25% chance to drop 100 coins, and a similar 1% chance to drop 500 coins. And this isn't even factoring the other better chances, like hypercharges, star powers, brawlers, and the fact that you could actually get mythic and legendary brawlers from them, which you actually can't get from sushis at all. However, there's a bit of a counterpoint to this. The amount of sushis and splits you are getting is probably a lot, and definitely more than the angel and demon star drops, though it might be closer than you think due to the sheer size of star drops you used to get during the contests. Furthermore, on the daily win track, angel star drops and demon star drops replace the regular star drops, while currently the sushis are added on top of the regular star drops. But another counterpoint is that the angel and demon, or even regular star drops, didn't have wasabis eating up a large chunk of the chances. Having a temporary feature be one of the biggest chances for the sushi roll definitely isn't ideal for progression. This could have been handled a lot better, like with the angel and demon powers, and the wasabis could have been given alongside the rewards, instead of competing with the actual rewards for chances. As for the amount of sushis given out, it simply wasn't enough for many of the free-to-play players. I've gone over most of the numbers of sushis given out in the 4 weeks, and you can see that it's mostly underwhelming numbers, especially considering the sushi meter, which I'll talk about in a moment. The 2 extra sushis given out every day in the reward track are a nice touch, and add up to 56 total sushis, but it requires being active every single day of the event, which might not be possible for many people. But there was an alternative, and that was the sushi offers in the shop. Brawlstars throughout this event have advertised many sushi roll for gem offers in the shop, with varying prices and amounts of sushi rolls. And this is extremely telling with the amount of sushis they've been giving out in other modes. And definitely shows, at least a little bit, that they want people to buy these sushi offers to get ahead. And finally, there's the sushi meter. This is one of the most controversial parts of the update for many people. But is it really that bad? First of all, let's talk about the rewards. 25 gems. Seriously? In the days where stuff like trophy boxes, the Brawl Pass, and the Pro Pass already give a lot of gems, it's safe to say this just isn't enough to really make that big of a difference. However, it's only the very first tier, and everyone who even opens up the game during the event should be able to get it, so it makes sense it isn't something extravagant. At 100 sushis, you get Cursed Kenji, and I have no big complaint with it. Even if you don't reach the final tier, you'll still technically get a legendary skin, though it won't feel that legendary since everyone's gonna have it. At 150 sushis, you can either get a free epic brawler or 1000 credits. This is where things get a little murky, as 150 sushis isn't the easiest to come by, and you have to grind at least a little for those credits or the brawler. However, I do believe it's not that bad of a reward, as an epic brawler, at least for new players, might take a bit of time to unlock, or if someone's missing a singular epic brawler at the end of their star road, this can easily help with that. Furthermore, the 1000 credits can be very useful in general, but even if you have fame, it can be very important since it can be saved to your inbox, meaning you can use it on the unlock process of the ultra legendary Kaze. Finally, at 200 sushis, you get a hypercharged skin upgrade. I can't lie, the hypercharged skin is extremely cool and is definitely a worthy reward. However, the sheer amount of sushis required for this is definitely not ideal. To get 200 sushis, you definitely have to be active throughout the event, completing the daily track every day, completing all of the challenges, doing well in the contests, and your club doing well in the mega buffet. And even then, you may just have to buy at least one of the sushi offers in the shop to reach that milestone. However, Brawlstars did give a few sushis out themselves, which also may help with people getting over the line. Overall though, I would say probably less than half of free-to-play players will get the hypercharged skin, and unless some crazy sushi giveaway is given right after this video goes out, that probably still will be true. In fact, I asked free-to-play players if they think they'll get the hypercharged skin, and an astounding 82% of them don't think they will get the skin, and this has both positives and negatives. First of all, unlike some hypercharged skins of the past, this will actually feel earned and a bit of a rare skin, since a lot of people won't be able to get it. However, to me, the negatives far outweigh the positives, as the sushi meter and the hypercharged skin were shown as relatively achievable as long as you were active, even if you were free to play. However, a lot of free to play players will miss out on getting the hypercharged skin, even if they were relatively active throughout the event, and to me, that's simply unacceptable. Finally, to wrap things up, let's talk about my least favorite part of this event, the wasabi power-ups. It feels like they copied the mutations from the Godzilla event, and then didn't really change anything other than the classifications and the name, as all the same problems from the mutations have become even worse with the wasabis. Brawlers like Amber and Finks destroy a lot of the brawlers even who have their wasabis, showing just how strong these two's wasabis are. And of course, they copied over some mutations, like Rico, Ruffs, and Hank, who are all still extremely broken and annoying to face off against. And of course, around half of the modes every day were gone due to mutations, which can be extremely annoying if you're looking to play a certain game mode or have quests in a certain game mode that's wasabi only. What's even worse is the RNG aspect of the wasabis. Somehow, they made it even worse than mutations. Now, wasabis are classified into different categories, with better wasabi categories generally being more powerful and therefore rarer to get. Now obviously, this meant that the more sushis you get, the more chances you have to get these better wasabi powers. And that obviously meant that to get the biggest advantage, you would have to pay up. And that means that free-to-play players are once again screwed over. A lot of free-to-play players would struggle in getting all the wasabi power-ups, especially the inferno ones, inherently putting them at a big disadvantage against people who have paid to get more sushis, and therefore better power-ups. Another bad thing about the wasabis is just like mutations, some brawlers either didn't even get a wasabi or got an extremely underwhelming one. The whole different wasabis for different brawlers feature is just never gonna end up balanced. And I still think the most relatively balanced it was with the SpongeBob update and the classes based power-ups. And even then, certain classes got screwed over while others got great power-ups. Overall, the moral of the story is to stop adding these temporary power-ups. As for the skins in this update and how they were handled, I think they were handled quite well. The skins are not particularly difficult to get, and I love how they were handled with the whole skin collection feature, so you could compare which ones you had with your friends. The spray given after getting all 7 skins is also a nice touch, but my problem with it is that it also includes having the Piper skin from the Brawl Pass, which is impossible to get for any free-to-play player, though I doubt many people will be sad to miss out on the spray because of it. Finally, the manga. I never thought that this would manage to be controversial, but apparently a lot of people aren't happy that there's not much of a story to it, and that the ending is a bit unsatisfying. As for me, I believe you never really should have expected that much. The art is great, and I agree the story and the lore is quite lacking, but they did mention that it was rushed, and you can't expect a full fleshed out story in just 4 manga chapters in a mobile video game, can you? So overall, what are my thoughts on this event? I have to say that this has been one of the most disappointing events in recent memory, and I'm not even a free-to-play player. The event brought a lot of the worst stuff from the other events, like mutations, RNG, and non-free-to-play friendly features, and not many of the good things, like the heavy amounts of progression we got in the Angels and Demons season. However, I believe there's an underlying reason for the overall disappointing feel that this event has. According to rumors and Supercell themselves, there was supposed to be a collab event around this time, but where is it? Certainly it's not Uno, right? That means that it was probably cancelled around last minute, which might have put extra stress and pressure for Brawl Stars to come up with their own solo event, which could have led to the rushed feeling that this update has. Keep in mind that this is pure speculation, but if this is the case, then I understand and sympathize with Brawl Stars for the rushed feeling that this event has. However, let me know your own thoughts on this update and the topics I discuss in the comments below. But anyway, thanks for watching. Watch this video, or this playlist, or join the Discord server.